What's going on, dear viewers? This is your gracious host, Kaine Walker. Back at it again this time to talk about Nobody Wants to Die. I've spent quite some time unraveling the mysteries of Dystopian New York, and now I'm here again to give my thoughts on the game while pulling out some key lessons in writing craft. You know the deal, folks. I'll be going over key aspects of the game from a gameplay narrative perspective, and wrap it up by giving a final score. So, without further ado, it's time for another one of Kaine Walker's Dread Quests in review. Nobody Wants to Die is a cyber-noir mystery by Critical Hit Games set in the year 2329, where immortality comes at a terrible price, and Detective James Kara is thrown into a tangled web of murder and conspiracy. His investigation leads him deep into the world of the city's elite, revealing dark secrets and unimaginable stakes. What's immediately noticeable here is this game emphasizes storytelling and decision-making over pure gameplay mechanics. This presents a different kind of immersion where the focus is on the narrative's emotional weight. From a writing craft perspective, James Kara stands out as a deeply conflicted character. He's pretty much the heart of the story, grappling not only with external threats, but also his own internal struggles. His arc exemplifies how to build a protagonist who reflects the core themes of the narrative. As a player, you don't just witness James' moral dilemmas, you feel them. The supporting cast is equally vital, each character playing a distinct role in pushing the story forward, while also being tools to explore larger questions about life, death, and mortality. In terms of character development, Nobody Wants to Die excels at showing how supporting characters can serve to highlight different facets of the protagonist's journey, while also standing on their own as multi-dimensional figures. This game excels at turning its setting, dystopian New York, into more than just a backdrop. It feels like a living, breathing city that reflects the decayed state of humanity. The city itself mirrors the internal conflicts of its inhabitants, particularly Kara's struggle with right and wrong. From a writing craft standpoint, this is a lesson in how to make settings an extension of the narrative. The way the world is described and presented serves to reinforce the grim tone, and the balance between world building and narrative pacing shows how much care went into making that environment as crucial to the story as the characters themselves, almost as if the city is its own character. This game digs into some pretty rich themes of immortality, corruption, sacrifice, and the cost of power. These themes aren't just sprinkled in, they're pretty much embedded into every character interaction and choice. From a storytelling perspective, this is a masterclass in how to tie themes into both characters and plot development. The game constantly forces you to think about the moral consequences of immortality, what it costs not only the powerful, but also the vulnerable. It plays with the idea of control, survival, and the price we pay for both. For aspiring writers, this is a great example of how to weave motifs into the bones of your narrative so that the reader or player is constantly engaged with your messaging.
Sure.
dialogue in Nobody Wants to Die is sharp and riddled with tension. Every conversation feels like it's pushing the story forward, with each character's words carrying subtext. As a writing tool, this is important, and this game shows how important it is to have your dialogue not just say something, but also imply something more. The way James talks about the suspects, the terse exchanges with his colleagues, and even the quiet moments of reflection are all filled with meaning. Dialogue is used here to build character relationships, heighten the stakes, and reveal hidden layers about the world. For those looking to sharpen their dialogue writing, this game is a perfect example of both building tension and revealing character. Now on to the flaws. One of the game's biggest issues is that it sometimes feels too much like an interactive movie. While the story is gripping, the player's sense of agency can feel limited at times. There are long stretches where you're mostly watching things unfold or being guided on rails rather than actively participating in the way that you might want to out of a typical video game experience. And from a narrative design perspective, this weakens the player's engagement during critical moments as the pacing occasionally drags due to extended dialogue or slow transitions between key scenes. The heavy reliance on cinematic presentation can take away from the immersion because instead of allowing players to fully play through the experience, it sometimes feels like you're being guided through a series of cutscenes with minimal input, almost to the point of just not wanting to be there anymore. In a game that sells itself on choice and agency, this reliance on passivity can be a detractor for some players. Other than that, I believe the game is very close to capturing the point and purpose of the hard-boiled detective's inner monologue, but I think it misses the mark just a little with some of James' dialogue. The philosophical musings exhibited by these characters from Detective Noir are usually pithy and sometimes idealistic, as if wishing for a better world, though they live in a bleak one, and their choice to remain moral in an unjust world is a protest against it, built on the back of some greater purpose or motivation. I think that this game leans far too heavily into the cynical territory. I could be wrong, but I never got that knight in sour armor feeling from James throughout the playthrough. Yeah, his past and experiences are as compelling as they are traumatic, but I couldn't help but think there was something missing. Is it just me? Nobody Wants to Die is a compelling, darkly thematic experience that thrives on its writing craft. The way it handles themes of immortality, the corrupting nature of power, moral ambiguity, it all makes it stand out as a great narrative experience. Despite some pacing issues and its interactive, movie-like approach and dialogue that just doesn't quite do it for me, at least all the way, it delivers a strong emotional impact in a lot of areas. The characters, for the most part, are well developed, the world feels authentic, and the themes are deeply integrated into pretty much every aspect of the story. From a writer's perspective, this game is a treasure trove of lessons on character development, thematic depth, and dialogue writing. It's a story that makes you think, and it's one that's hard to shake off long after you've put down the controller. With all that said, because I still have to rate this as a video game, I'm gonna have to give Nobody Wants to Die a middle ground 5 out of 10. This is by no means a waste of your time, especially if you're a writer or any type of creative. However, if you're someone looking to play a video game, I would strongly urge you to look elsewhere and perhaps watch a playthrough of this on YouTube in your spare time. I definitely appreciate all the effort that went into making this game from Critical Hit, and I hope they get to make more projects in the future. But I've gone on long enough. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all the YouTube things, and click the links in the description to keep your fingers on the pulse of Cosmogoth. This is your gracious host, Kaine Walker, signing off, and I will see you all again next time. Peace.